touchdown, touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling with Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today, I am joined by a very, very special guest. We got him on the road, so I'm blessed to have this time with him. We got Ross Tucker, former offensive lineman and man of many hats when it comes to this podcast game. So blessed to have you on. How's it going, Ross?
Joe, it is fantastic, man. Thank you so much for having that intro. I saw it got me so pumped. It got me so pumped for this season. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going on that show. Philly the podcast. I appreciate, I've had my own podcast network for 10 years. I've been in the podcast game, believe it or not, for 13 years. So I just have a lot of respect and appreciation for anyone that's starting out, anyone trying to build a podcast like you guys are. And so I'm just thrilled to be a part of it, thrilled to try to help you guys out and talk about Eagles football.
Definitely. No, I really do appreciate that. It means a lot. I put my foot in it when it came to that intro, so I'm glad you like it, man. But yeah, I want to talk about these Eagles, man. I'm going to hop right into it. Like I said, I know you got things to do, but I want to ask you, as a former offensive lineman, right? We look at this Eagles offensive line. We've been blessed with a very good offensive line for a while. I want to ask you, from your perspective, what does it take for an offensive line to be able to be at the top of the rankings so consistently as we are?
Well, I think it's really a combination of two things. It's number one, the commitment from Howie Roseman and the Eagles organization, really even Jeffrey Lurie. They decided a long time ago that they were going to invest a lot in the offensive line. They were never going to allow the offensive line to be the reason that the team couldn't achieve their goals or hold them back. They've invested a lot of resources. I mean, even just drafting Cam Jurgens in the second round this year is another example of the Eagles investing resources constantly in the offensive line. And I love it because I'm a former offensive lineman, but Joe, I do a lot of games, right? I do a lot of NFL games on the radio for Western One, and there's a bunch of teams, man, that they really have no shot. Some of them right from the start of the year, and other teams, it's like as soon as one guy goes out, like they lose one tackle, the next guy comes in and he can't play, and it holds the entire offense back. So I think they realize that they don't want to ever be in that situation where a guy gets hurt and the season's kind of over because you can't function along the offensive line. Number one is the organization's commitment to making sure that they invest the resources in the position. And number two is just Stoutland. I mean, Stoutland, their O-line coach, is a stud. I think it's really rare, by the way, and not talked about enough. This guy, to my knowledge, had never been in the NFL before Chip Kelly brought him from Alabama. I mean, if Chip Kelly has the Eagles' legacy, it's that he brought Jeff Stoutland to Philly because Stout's as good of an offensive line coach as there is in the NFL, and he had no NFL experience before before he came to the NFL, and he is so good. And they've gotten so much out of some. I mean, first of all, Kelsey's playing better now than he ever used to before Stoutland. Lane's playing at a really high level. The way he's developed Mailata. But to me, it's even what he gets out of Herb, what he gets out of Jack. He has consistently gotten a lot out of guys that I'm not sure they would get that much out of him. To the point people are like, oh, he's a good player, Fryer. I mean, he finds a way to get the most out of guys. Impressive.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of times you look at some of these guys, and, it's weird because we have such high value in some of our offensive linemen. But I've heard a lot of people say, what would they do in a different organization because we don't have scouting, right? But I'm glad you brought up scouting, to be honest, because scouting is a big part of this organization, And I want to ask you, you've had a lot of offensive line coaches. What is the difference? What do you think, he does, or just in general, what does it take to be a great offensive line coach?
Such a great question, Joe. I had 9 offensive line coaches in my NFL career, if you can believe that. 9. And what I would tell you, position coaches in general in the NFL, and offensive line coaches in particular, they make a big difference here. I mean, there was a big difference between the best O-line coach I had and the worst. Part of it is from the standpoint and making sure all of the guys are well prepared for every situation and know what's coming and don't make mental errors. Part of it is technique, and some of that is not letting guys, let their technique get lazy. Sometimes it's letting guys do what's best for them, right? And I think if you watch Stoutland, he doesn't treat all the guys the same. There are some offensive line coaches out there that they want everybody to do it the same. Well, if you watch, Lake Johnson is a lot different than Mailata is. The guys, Stoutland figures out what's best for each of the guys with their individual personal technique. I can give you so many examples of players that were way better or way worse depending on the position coach. I remember one year in Buffalo, Joe, our running back were horrible in pass protection. I mean, they never knew who to block. They never knew the right guy. The next year, we got a new running back coach. It was the same guy. It was McGahee and Travis Henry and the same guys, and they were on point. I mean, they were on it. And it was the only difference with the running back coach.
Yeah, and you look at the NFL, I feel like everybody has talent. We're at a point now that what can you get out of that talent? So that's a very good point. People do change depending on the system that you're in. Now, another thing I want to ask you about, this is probably going to be the last thing about O-line, but I have to ask you. I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't. But the O-line, we've been seeing a lot more versatility out of these guys, right? Guys are coming in, they start as a guard, ask to move to center, ask to move to do this, do that. How difficult is that really to do? I mean, I think as fans, we kind of just see it happen, and we're like, oh, everybody should be able to do that. But how difficult is that for you to do in change positions?
A lot harder than people think it is. A lot. And you're talking to a guy that was a jack of all trades, master of none. I got playing time, whether it was preseason or regular season, at all 5 offensive line spots, and started games at all 3 interior spots. And it's like anything else. It's muscle memory, and it's getting comfortable. So I often think, Joe, how good maybe could I have been if I ever just was able to stay at center, or if I was ever able to just stay at left guard? Because it's like anything else. I mean, I don't know. Everybody, you got people listening or watching that maybe they're a carpenter, an electrician. For the most part, the more you do stuff, the better you get at it because you figure out the best way to do it for you. And you get more comfortable because you've done this. You're a plumber and you've done this like 500 times and you're used to it, right? That's not the deal. But as offensive lineman, when you're moving around, it's hard to ever really get comfortable. I actually got comfortable being just somewhat comfortable at every spot. But the guys that can just stay, like Lane Johnson, stay. I'll give you an example. You know, Dillard is pretty good at left tackle. He's pretty comfortable there. When they put him at right tackle, he was very clearly very uncomfortable. So that's a guy that, would need
think I might have cutting out a little bit. Can you still hear me? There we go. I think you're coming back now. All right, sorry about that. You gotta love the
No, it's
internet,
not.
right? You gotta love the internet. Oh, there we go. All right, there we go. There we go. Now you're loud and clear. Beautiful, beautiful. Sorry about that. But yeah, and you make some great points, especially about the whole Andre Dillard staying comfortable in the position that you're in. And I have like two more questions, and then I'll let you go. I do want to switch sides, right? I want to look at we obviously have three very good defensive tackles on this team right now. You're looking at Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, and obviously Devon Hargrave, and goes a little bit deeper on on paper on game day, prior to game day. How do you think offensive linemen and offensive offensive coaches and everything, how are they going to get ready and prepare for those three different types of defensive tackles?
Joe, you're missing one, bro. Milton Williams.
Yeah, I am.
I,
I
I,
am.
I I think Milton Williams is going to be good. In limited playing time last year, I get excited about guys. So sometimes I got to just relax a little bit and let them show what they can do. But last year in the preseason, I do the preseason games on TV. I thought Milton Williams really flashed. And then all during the year, he didn't get that many reps. But when he did, he made the most of it. I think I think Milton Williams is going to surprise people this year because I think the attention is going to usually go to Fletch or Hargrave or sometimes you almost have to double team Jordan Davis. I wouldn't want to try to block him as one man. So I think Milton Williams is going to be able to be fresh. Maybe he only plays 20, 25 snaps, and I think he gets a lot of one-on-one. I think he's going to do something with it. I can tell you, he went to Louisiana Tech. He switched from DN to D tackle. You know, by far the biggest jump in my career was between my first year and second year. My first year, I was just kind of happy to be there and happy I made the team. When my second year came around, I was like, I'm the biggest, baddest dude out here. By the way, I wasn't, but I just thought I was. Like that was my mindset, right? Like I'm the biggest, baddest dude out here. I'm as good as anybody. That was my mindset, and I hope some of these second year guys, like Dickerson, like Milton Williams, even Kenny G, Kenny Gainwell, I hope they take that next step, and I think some of them have a great chance to do so.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting because, like you said, there's so many different names that we're not even focusing on because we have good players. You look at the secondary, you look at all these guys we've added. But like you said, Milton Williams did really slip my mind, and I've talked about him at end. I am very excited to see him play. So I'm glad you called me out on that. Now, last question I do want to get in before I let you go, Ross. You said it yourself. You are doing the preseason games again. You re-signed, you're watching that the smartest decision Eagles probably made all off season, if I'm being honest. But so we know where you're going to be for the preseason. But where do you think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be come playoffs? Do you think this is a team that's better than last year? Do you think it's way better than last year? Kind of the same? Where do you think?
Well, they're definitely on paper better than last year, and I would say they're probably a piece better than last year. You have Jalen Hurts going to his second full year as a starter. You bring in a guy like A.J. Brown. You bring in Hassan Reddick to rush the passer. Jordan Davis, Jacoby Dean. I mean, they clearly upgraded James Bradbury at a number of spots. And they're better at a number of spots. So I think they're better, and I would say probably by a decent amount. The thing is, though, Joe, they stayed very healthy last year. Very healthy last year. And that always makes me a little bit nervous because those things have a way of evening out. Now, the 3 years before that or whatever, they were ravaged by injuries. So maybe last year was the evening out. But the odds are they probably don't stay as healthy this year as they did last year. And that's, of course, something that can have a big time impact on a season.
Definitely, yeah. I think we'll all be knocking on wood, Ross. I think we'll all be a little bit nervous about that, especially with Eagles' history of injury. But we'll see. Last year we did, and obviously this year it seems like they're going along the same mindset with the OTAs and off season, trying to take a little bit easy on these guys to try and get into the NFL season healthy. But Russ, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you get to the road. You know what I'm saying? I really do appreciate your time. It means the world to me. I'm a huge fan. We're gonna have all the links to all your podcasts. It's gonna be a lengthy list, but we're gonna have a list of all your podcasts and all you do. Is there anything you want to say before we do get out of here?
Check me out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Even I'm on TikTok now at Ross Tucker NFL. Would love to hear from you guys. YouTube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. And then, as Joe mentioned, I got a bunch of podcasts. The Ross Tucker Football Podcast is pretty much every day. And then if you're into fantasy football, I got a fantasy one called Fantasy Feast. If you like to bet, I have a very popular betting one called Even Money. So the key, though, is follow me on social media, and you'll be able to see all of them. Really appreciate you having me on, Joe. It got me, I'm telling you, man, you're open. That got me crunk. I was ready to go. I was like, oh, I'm going on this guy's show. I just announced the Eagles thing. You shot your shot. You reached out. So I wish you nothing but success. Keep doing what you're doing, and I appreciate you having me.
Definitely. Maybe closer to the season we can try and do it again and chop it up on how you're feeling tonight. But I want to get you on the road. You know, I get nervous when I see people driving on the show. But I do appreciate you so much. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. But we are out of here. Peace!
Everywhere, this is for
Yeah.
you.
Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird gang nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning